Well, I tell you what, number 10 is Anfield. Number 10 is
number
Anfield.
10. Right, okay.
Number 10 is Anfield, yeah.
You an Everton player, bloody hell.
Well, it's, do you know what? My dad grew up. My dad was a Liverpool fan. My brother was a Liverpool fan. I was neither. But no, it was just. It was certainly when I'd moved to Sunderland. I hadn't played at Anfield before. I'd gone to Sunderland, and then first time I played it, it was a great, just the atmosphere playing at Anfield. That, of course, my brother loved them. Dad loved them, as I was saying. So it was something that you grew up watching teams play at Anfield, watching those famous Liverpool teams from the 80s, and I grew up in that era.
This is the only stadium I'll be able to say this to you about. I've played there too. There was a competition here a couple of years ago.
There you go.
So, first things first, dressing rooms, appalling.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, football clubs all over the country have better changing rooms and shower facilities than the old Anfield. Much better now with the new stand. Like, really cramped. The roof is really low.
Yeah.
There's about 7 showers, 8
Feels
showers.
hot and sticky in the dressing rooms. Yeah, it is.
Awful.
Yeah, it is. There were so many grounds that was like that. There were so many grounds that you'd play at the old style stadiums. It was, I mean, the home dressing rooms. They'd have kind of a little bit of TLC on them. Very, very nice. You know, do as much as they can on the grounds. But certainly the away dressing room at Anfield wasn't nice at all. It wasn't very welcoming anyway.
There is something about the old "This is Anfield" sign that's it.
Yeah, I suppose it was that as well. That you've seen it so much growing up. You've seen that sign. You've seen, you go down the little stairway. Of course, now it's changed with the new stand that's gone in there. But yeah, as it was, and then walking back up the stairs at the other side out into the stadium, and you get that scream and that roar. Yeah, it was nice. I suppose, because I'd stepped up from lower league football and I'd gone from playing, I made my league debut at Torquay United. I'd scored my first goal at Springfield Park. Where's that, Joel? See, would you know that? You wouldn't know that, would you? I scored my first goal at Springfield Park. Yeah, I'll tell you in a bit. The listeners might want to text in or tweet in that.
I'm certain my guess is Springfield.
Yeah, well, there you go then. So your knowledge of football is limited, Joe. You know that. You're a rugby man now. But yeah, so I grew up playing at these stadiums, and then...
Is it Wigan?
Who told you that?
No one.
Yeah, you little shite. Honestly, you've just Googled that, haven't you?
I didn't Google it.
It was, yeah. So, and then all of a sudden, then when you make that progression, and obviously when I'd gone to West Brom, playing at Hawthorns was great, and you're playing at some really good grounds in the Championship, but then to step up into the Premier League at Sunderland, and you're playing at the likes of Anfield, that was great. It was just remember the whole experience of actually getting to the ground, getting there to the stadium, going into the dressing rooms. I know you said they were small and tiny, and yet they weren't very welcoming, but it was just that buzz of actually being there for the first time that I remember.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
And they say, finally, before we get to number 9, if Anfield is number 10, Roy Keane certainly said in his book, it's a bit of a cliche, but that the fans there were knowledgeable and you could sense they really knew what was going on the pitch. Did you find that, or is that overstated?
Yeah, used to get when I was playing for Everton there, I used to get absolutely abused when I was playing on the left wing at the far side opposite the tunnel. I thought
it was interesting. Keane even said that about Anfield as a Manchester United player.
It is, yeah. I mean, do you know what I used to find is, do you know what I think in general, realistically, I think a lot of grounds, I mean, maybe Roy found that himself, but a lot of grounds, you obviously get quite a considerable amount of stick, but a lot of football fans now, and I think over time, even from when I was a kid starting to watch football, so much football that you were digesting, so much football that you're consuming, that you're able to get more knowledgeable crowds. I think they've got so much more of an understanding of the game than perhaps when I was maybe a kid growing up as it was.
And I presume You'll Never Walk Alone is amazing.
It was great. I mean, I think as well, yeah, and again, it's Evertonian friends wouldn't thank me for it, but I think particularly even on a derby day as well, when I was playing for Everton in those derby days, because Evertonians were trying to drown it out as much as possible. It was just the raw. You literally, if I was stood as far far away from you as I am now, you literally couldn't have a conversation. You just couldn't talk to each other. You couldn't hear any shouting. So it was almost you just having to play those sort of games on instinct. Yeah.
Okay, Anfield number 10.
Yeah, number 9 is Old Trafford. Ooh. There you go. Ooh. Again, along the same sort of lines as I'd said before, that you'd grown up watching so much football, particularly maybe when I was getting to my teenage years, watching Premier League football, and then to walk out. I remember walking out the tunnel, in the corner of the ground, And the picture that you can see there, that if for the online watchers, they can see that, seeing that Manchester United along that side. Obviously, then you've got the Stretford end to your left hand side. Just going out and having that experience of playing at Old Trafford, it was just, I don't know. It's a weird when you're trying to describe it, because I remember probably more vivid memories of actually pulling up to the ground, seeing the luminous red Manchester United when you were pulling up in the coach to the ground, almost having that feeling, maybe within me, I suppose it was. Yeah, now you can say you've made it.
It's the big time.
You're coming actually to play a league game that is at Old Trafford against Manchester United, and they were, I mean, an incredible side during that time, but to have that experience of actually going to Old Trafford, again, going back to me fact is, I would have been a lad growing up who would have liked watching Norman Whiteside. My first real memory was Norman Whiteside in 1985 with that little step over and the goal against Everton in the FA Cup final. That was my memory, and then to go to Old Trafford and have that experience, it was incredible. Yeah,
I've seen footage a few times, I'm sure everyone has. The dressing room seemed to be almost kind of a wooden texture.
A little bit more spacious than Anfield, a little bit more spacious than most, but again, not too welcoming, not too, where it was like, it was almost if you're going to win here today, if you're going to get any sort of result, you've got to actually do something very special, which, I don't think I did actually get a result in any of the time I was playing there at Old Trafford, because of the sides that they had, but there was definitely that sort of, I'm sure it was maybe a conscious effort from maybe Alex Ferguson and maybe the staff members. Don't make this much of a nice place, right. But they always used to give you chicken nuggets and chips and a bit of pizza after the game. You'd always get a nice bit of food after the game. The only ground, the away ground you go to, they give you a little bit of food.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Great warm-up tunes as well. Stone Roses, a lot of great Manchester bands.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was good.
Amazing. Always was. You get in the late 80s, 90s tunes, as I would call, Joel, proper music.
Yeah. So Old Trafford, understandably. So you've gone for two very iconic starts there.
Yeah.
Anfield, Old Trafford. I can see the young wide-eyed Boyd in you kind of pinching himself to be at these grounds. Yeah. And they do live up to expectation. They're kind of class. Very much so, yeah. Didn't get the results that I would have necessarily wanted, but yes, they were great to play at, yeah. Number 8. Well, number 8 would probably, it was a team I grew up supporting. It was Celtic. I grew up largely down to my uncle. My uncle's still he runs a Celtic supporters branch over in the northwest of England there now as well, when he first moved over to England. So I've never been. So I've been to Anfield. I've been to Old Trafford.
Again, I didn't play in a competitive match. I played in a testimonial and I played in a pre-season friendly. But that was probably the team that I would have wanted to play for when I was a kid growing up. And again, I probably had a couple of chances that I didn't take necessarily, but to play there at Celtic Park, I played it in Jackie McNamara's testimonial for Ireland. Brian Kerr was the manager during that time. I actually met with one of Celtic's board members after that game, and they had actually told me that they wanted to sign me, but I just agreed a contract at Everton, so it never quite happened that time. Sat in the Celtic boardroom after that game, but the atmosphere in that game was a great atmosphere because it was a testimonial match, because it was us, because it was the Irish side that was going to Celtic Park to play in Jackie McNamara's testimonial. It was great. It was brilliant. It was Martin O'Neill's kind of last game as well. Martin O'Neill was just about to leave the club before Gordon Strachan took over, and there was a great feeling that day to play in that match. Yeah, and I think we had a qualifier. I've had qualifiers actually that summer. That could have been the Russia Albania games just after that, and we were in preparation, but I think it was special for us all just to get that run out. For me personally, from a personal point of view, to play at that ground, and exactly, tick the box, suppose you say. Yeah, it was another ground that you can tick off, one that you would have grown up watching sides there.
How big is it? It looks big.
Yeah, it was big.
It looks high.
I think when I was there's one of the stands that I think it was three sides of the stadium was all fairly modern, and the one I think that you would walk out on was still part of the old ground. I think that's right. I've not actually been up to Celtic Park in the last few years.
But when you played there, that was
when I was there, it was like that. Yeah, so 3 of the stands were done brilliantly. Brilliantly done. Probably very much in the modern style stadium. Yeah. And that one stand wasn't quite done. But yeah, it was again just playing at Celtic Park with that atmosphere, and Fields of Athenry being sung, and again, it was just amazing. Yeah, and amazing again. Maybe as you say, maybe ticking another box. Well, didn't necessarily feel like a box being ticked, but maybe I think theoretically that was how it was.
Nice to tick off. So number 7.
Number 7
We're
is...
definitely not going to get all the way down to 1 here.
No, we won't. Goodison Park. I played so much there. I think probably the standout game. I mean, it's something that Nathan would always talk about as well. Nathan loves doing commentary there as well, and I actually love even going back now to commentate. But to play at Goodison, and everyone always said to me even before I went to Goodison, to play at Goodison Park in a night game under the lights is just the most special occasion. And the one game that stands out was in 2005, the 04-05 season, when we qualified in the Champions League positions, and we were playing Man United under the lights. I think it was a Tuesday night, and it was probably one of the best games I would have been part of, because there was nothing given in the game. It was a really tight match, and Duncan Ferguson scored at the Gladys Street end, which of course, anyone who would know Goodison Park, it's just the atmosphere that was generated. That was the singing corner from, or the singing side from Goodison Park. And
is that left or right as we look at it on TV?
As you look at it on TV, it's down to the right hand side. Down to the right hand side. If you see the old pictures of it, where when it was terracing, when it was just the stand, it was just a free for all in there.
Well, the thing that strikes me about Goodison is you see pictures of it in '66 when Eusebio was there. Yeah, and it really hasn't changed.
Not much has changed. I think
that's the magic of it.
I think that is the beauty about it as well. Yeah, I think the beauty of Goodison, and if Everton is to progress as a club and seriously challenge as a top 4 club in 5-10 years time, they will probably have to move, and it might take something away from and the beauty of Everton as a football club. But to play there, I'm proud that I would have played. I would have played there when I was at Sunderland as well. When I was I managed to actually score at the Gladys Street, and when I did play for Sunderland, as it turned out. But to go back and play there, and then have a little bit of success there, win some big games there at Goodison under the lights. They were great nights at Goodison Park that generated great atmospheres. Yeah,
no, I can see that. I do like even watching games at Goodison on TV, especially under lights. So we're not going to get much further this evening. That's Anfield at 10, 9 Old Trafford, 8 Celtic Park, and 7 Goodison. What's the best pitch of those 4 as a matter of interest? Well, you look at maybe the start of the season, they all would have been absolutely immaculate, wouldn't they? Throughout the year, I'd probably think that... I remember Old Trafford always being just immaculate pitch. And there was occasions I went to Anfield during one particular season when the pitch wasn't great at all. So probably pitch-wise, yeah. And I think that was down to the fact is that United were so successful and they were so difficult to play against because they had so many top-quality players. So, yeah, I'd just maybe out of those, I'd say Old Trafford.
Good. Hey, hope you enjoyed that latest offering from Off the Ball. If you want to subscribe, and you should, check out just up here. All our latest stuff is just down here. Generally, knock yourself out.